Bom dia, everybody. We had to wait a little longer than what we thought this afternoon for the Brazilian Grand Prix to conclude, but what a race this was around Sao Paulo's incredible Interlagos circuit. I said earlier in the week that this is one of my favourite tracks on the Formula 1 calendar because it always produces, the fans are incredible, and the weather is always playing a role around this track. And we've seen all of those factors at play for an absolutely incredible race. Now, I'm going to do my best to summarize this into 5 things we learned from the 2024 Brazilian Grand Prix, but there was so much going on. I will try and cover as much as I can during this review, but there's still some things that honestly we don't know, and we're not going to get to find out for some time, because the first thing that we learned is that there was controversy at the start. Lance Stroll, I feel for the Aston Martin mechanics. Fernando Alonso had a horrible race today. He said the car was pretty much undrivable. It was really hurting his back. Lance Stroll, though, he had a crash in qualifying, as did Fernando Alonso. Both of those guys had to have their cars rebuilt, and Lance Stroll didn't even make the start of the race. Getting off the line for the formation lap, he ended up going off wide. I think he almost got into the barriers, eventually got out of them, and then got into the gravel and was beached as a result. Because of that, the start was, I believe the term was, abandoned. And because the start was abandoned, technically in the rules, that meant that the cars would not do another formation lap. No, instead of that, effectively all the mechanics would come back onto the grid and they would restart at a later time. However, Lando Norris did not go along with that. I believe Lando Norris, Esteban Ocon, Liam Lawson and Yuki Tsunoda, as I record this straight after the race, are all under investigation for start line procedural breaches, which could land them some severe penalties. As things stand though, as I record this, and of course I will bring you an update when something is decided, either way, if it's decided that they get a penalty or not, I will do that of course. But for the meantime, as things stand, Esteban Ocon was up in second, which we will talk about very, very soon. But Lando Norris ended up in P6, and the Bs of Tsunoda and Lawson were in P8 and 9 respectively. So if they get some time penalties, they will presumably drop down the order from where they initially finished. Let's talk about Mercedes though, because they're another team that are under investigation as things stand. George Russell started all the way from up in P2, an incredible job in qualifying for him, and he actually led going round the first corner and led in the opening stages of the race. Lando Norris was unable to get past him, was unable to get even close to challenging him, to be honest with you. Those two were the class of the field in the opening stint of the race before the rain came and we had a safety car. However, Russell did stop to get some new intermediate tyres, as did Lando Norris and the safety car, and eventually the red flag was eventually called. We'll talk a little bit more about that red flag in a little bit, but I just want to talk about Max Verstappen for the third thing here. Now, I've criticised Max Verstappen a lot recently. Some of his antics on the track have been downright terrible, and I can totally understand why Damon Hill has labelled him as the Dick Dastardly of Formula 1. And it's very frustrating with Max Verstappen because he is such a superb talent. We know this, but he just does some really unforgivable things on the track basically. But today he showed why he's a world-class driver, why he's a triple world champion, and why in truth he's gonna win the championship this year. I have no doubt about that. He started all the way down in P17 today, qualified 12th, but then had his 5th place grid penalty for his change in engine. But he put that new engine to perfect use to get up to P1. He won the race from 17th. Incredible really. He just basically tore through the pack. He was up to P10 by the end of the first lap, gaining 7 positions as a result. Just unbelievable really. Absolutely world class. One of the best wins of his career, and it absolutely, really, with where Lando Norris has finished, and it could even be worse for Lando Norris, I think with that, really the championship is his. If he doesn't win it from here, there is something seriously wrong. That Red Bull does look quick in his hands, and he won the race by 19 seconds ahead of Esteban Ocon. But let's talk about Alpine. Now, I was saying, and a lot of people were thinking, there's no way that Alpine are going to get 8th in the constructors' standings. They're just not really performing that well. Williams are looking pretty good at this time. They got a double podium today. Esteban Ocon in 2nd, Pierre Gasly in 3rd. Gasly's been pulling out some really good performances in the Alpine at times recently, but Esteban Ocon in 2nd place just came out absolutely nowhere. Ocon was actually leading the race as well, and he was leading it quite comfortably until the safety car was called for heavy rain. But I think it was like 7 or 8 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen at that point. Then at the restart though, after the red flag, Verstappen just got down the inside of Esteban Ocon and just went off in the distance. Nothing could stop him at that point. But Ocon getting 2nd, Gasly up in 3rd, and really, they absolutely deserved it. They were absolutely excellent today, both of the Alpines. That is a huge result for them in the championships. They are ahead of Williams, no doubt, after this, and they might well be challenging the likes of RB and Haas. I'll have to check the point standings when they've been updated, but unbelievable, really. That is a full 33 points heading its way to Enstone, which is probably more points than they had in the entire season combined up until this point. And the final thing I want to talk about, I've talked about Lando Norris and where he ended up. I've got to talk about McLaren in general. They've absolutely thrown away the Drivers' Championship in this race. I mean, Lando Norris in P1. They were looking so good after getting a 1-2 in the sprint on Saturday morning. But they'd absolutely thrown it away with this one. I understand why they stopped when George Russell did as well, but Lando Norris going wide, losing the position as a result of that. Piastri, he got a 10-second penalty for a collision with Liam Lawson. Sorry, I did say before that Piastri finished in that Tsunoda finished in P8. He didn't. That was before the penalty was applied. So Tsunoda's actually in 7th, Piastri is in 8th. But again, that might swap around if the penalty. There's so many investigations and so many penalties currently pending as I record this. I'm going to have to do a few more videos when we get the official confirmation of this. You would expect that to be in the next couple of hours or so, but we'll have to see how that works out. But yeah, McLaren absolutely throwing this away, like I said. I mean, they were, Piastri had a very tough job on to be able to get back up the order, but they were comfortably ahead of both Red Bulls at the start of this race, and Max Verstappen just waltzed past them all to win this one. So McLaren really only have themselves to blame with this one, and it really pains me to say that as a McLaren fan. But despite this, they are still looking like the favourites for the Constructors' Championship. But like I said earlier, the Drivers' Championship, I think they're absolutely dreaming if they think they can get that. There's no chance, I think, after this. No chance. And that's before any kind of penalty comes the way of Lando Norris. But yeah, there we go, guys. The 2024 Sao Paulo Grand Prix. It was a long one, but it was an absolutely fantastic race to watch this evening in the UK. I really, really enjoyed it. Definitely worth sticking with through the red flags and the safety cars and everything. And I'm glad we got the full race distance completed despite all the thunderstorms that were forecast. But yeah, we'll be back very soon with some Formula 1 news for you guys here on the F1Chronicle.com. Like I said, the penalties or potential penalties for the likes of the McLarens, the RBs, and the Mercedes is that's all to yet be decided. So I will bring you out some videos when that is decided, basically going over what the thinking of the stewards has been, because the stewards haven't been controversial at all recently. I'm sure there'll be no fallout for it whatsoever. But yeah, we'll see you soon for some more content on the pinnacle of motorsport here on F1 Chronicle very soon, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, and have a good one, guys. We'll see you very soon.